Hello, UPL fans. Ashenmore here with my last game of the regular season, a rematch against Lucky. Now, he's currently in the lead in our division. I did lose my first game against him, so here's our chance for revenge. So we're going to get into the team builder. A lot of what we're going to do is vaguely the same. Now, the main reason we lost the last battle is because we went ahead and we tried to execute our game plan, which was to sweep with Celesteela kind of right out of the gate. And I figured it would work, and then we got paralyzed by the Zapdos's discharge, and we ended up losing that game because of another paralyze against the Diancie. But at the end of the whole thing, we had other things we could do. We could have damaged the Zapdos ahead of time, and we could have put rocks down. There's all sorts of other things we could have gone with. So how are we going to take him out this time? Now, he has very, very strong defensive core. Zapdos, Tapu Fini, and then some combination of Nidoqueen / Empoleon. This time around, I do not expect to see Empoleon. Like I said, I have done 2 switches since the last time I battled him. I have the Thunderous Tea now. Bringing 2 bulky waters is being a little bit too weak to that thing, considering I'm probably going to be bringing it against him. This is also a really great Pokemon against the Zapdos, so obviously it's coming along. We're going to run it Choice Scarf. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, this allows it to beat the Noivern, which is another very fast thing that he has. It also allows him to outspeed Lycanroc. Obviously, +2 Cell Rock is still going to kill us, but if he hasn't gotten +2, we can actually kill him outright with Thunderbolt, even on a Scarf set, so that's pretty nice. So obviously Volt Switch Thunderbolts are going to be things. Hidden Power Ice is going to help us hit things like the Shaman, potentially, or the Nidoqueen if he decides to switch it in against us. Knockoff is kind of a, hey, I didn't expect that kind of thing. So once he knows that it's Scarf, potentially I can get rid of an opposing Scarf or some other sort of an item that's really good. This also allows us to get a big chunk of damage off on Reuniclus if he happens to bring that, which I'm pretty scared of. I don't have a lot of things that can deal with that. I don't think he's going to bring it, but he could. Once again, I'm kind of going to go with the modest thing. In this league, that's not working out anymore as far as like tricking people that it may not be Scarf. It worked the first couple of times, but I don't think anybody's really going for that anymore. Anyway, we're going to run the same Steela build as last time. Heavy Slam, Earthquake, Stone Edge. This hits every single thing on his team super effectively, or at the very least neutral with Stab in the case of Heavy Slam. Rockium Z, that's going to allow us to kill the Zapdos after rocks damage. It'll also allow us to kill it after just a little bit of chip. So that's what we'll be going for there. Obviously, the idea is get this out against something, autotomize, roll away with the game. Roughly the same spread. I think I ended it just a little bit. We're going to have just enough speed investment to outspeed the Noivern after an autotomized boost. For the next Pokemon, we're going to be running Silvally Bug. Now, this is a change from the previous game. Multi-attack, Parting Shot, Tailwind, Thunderbolt. So I really like the combination of Parting Shot, Tailwind. It really helps you, set up that sweep and then get good momentum out. Basically function as a pivot. Thunderbolt's going to hit those 2 bulky waters. Multi-attack is mainly going to be there for the Shaman and also just for general coverage. Besides this Silvally Bug, I won't really have any other things against that Shaman. Now, we are going to be running full defense. One of the other reasons is because this is our main switch into that Mega Gallade. I don't want to use Swampert like I did last time against it because it can potentially Drain Punch. It can also carry Leaf Blade, which if I was him, I would probably run on it. For the Swampert, which we are going to bring, because it does pair so well against his Nidoqueen and his Empoleon, obviously we're going to run Hit, Earth Power, and Ice Beam to kind of hit both of those things, as well as to deal damage to Zapdos and the Shaman. Endeavor is obviously going to be there, so we can bring one of his high health tanks down if we're injured later on, such as the Fini. And then Stealth Rock is obviously something we're going to want to have to support the Celesteela sweeping. Now, we're not running full bulk on this guy. We're running with special attack investment, and the reason why is because without that special attack investment, we can't fight the Fini. and we can't score Okos against that Empoleon and the Nidoqueen. So that's really why we're doing it that way. Then we got the Licky Licky. We're going to be running Choice Band Licky Licky with the Explosion, Earthquake Return Knockoff, kind of standard move set. Pretty much exactly the same that I brought it last time, except this time I'm going to make sure we try to get some more value out of it rather than just exploding. One of the other great things we can do with this is if he has Reuniclus and he does try to start Calm Minding on us, we just throw this out, we explode, end of story. No more Reuniclus. Pretty great. And then obviously, for the last Pokemon, we're going to use Mega Diancie. The reason why we're bringing this guy is because it really just tears through a lot of his team. Obviously, it's speed ties with that Mega Gallade. We don't want that to happen. However, with our current investment, and because we're not taking a minus defense nature, there shouldn't be any move that the Mega Gallade can actually use that will OHKO the Diancie, except perhaps Leaf Blade. That's really the only way. I'm going to be running all special moves and Calm Mind. There are a couple of different things I can Calm Mind against pretty effectively, I think. And then Earth Power, Moonblast, Power Gem really kills everything, including that Zapdos. And there you have it. That's what we're going to be bringing. Now, you may notice the team names kind of mirror the new names from the Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee games. This is kind of just, an attempt at memery. Obviously, Celesteal is going to be baddie bad. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Anyway, that's what I have for Team Builder. So let's get in the battle and see how it turns out. Welcome to the battle portion of the video. Looking at the team lineup, we see that the only real difference he's made between this game and the last game we played is that he swapped out the Empoleon for the Nidoqueen, and we kind of expected that based on the Thunderous T now that we have that. So what do we lead against this team? Most likely Licky Licky. There's only two different leads I could really see him going for here. The first one would be the Noivern, obviously, and then we'll maybe get to see if that's Specs. And then the Nidoqueen potentially is trying to set up hazards. We're going to go Licky Licky. It can't be one-shot by anything that he has here, and we can very, very easily click Explosion and drop a hole in his team if he puts out the right tank against us. So that is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to throw out Licky. He's going to throw out the Noivern, and we're not going to explode here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to absorb that Draco Meteor. So he's not Specs, and we're going to go for the return. That does a lot of damage. He's going to switch out, obviously. I'm going to switch out into Diancie. So the thought process there was he's probably not going to leave the Noivern in. My thought was that he's probably Scarf at that point. So now he's kind of locked into that move. I can easily go into the Diancie, absorb a follow-up one, or if he switches out into something else, now I'll kind of be on the front foot. Now, him switching to the Lycanroc is not that great for me. I don't want to stay out on this. He is faster. He's probably Z. He's run it Rocky MZ or whatever the Lycanroc version of it is pretty much every week. So there's no way I'm staying in on this. I'm going to switch into the Swampert, which is really my dedicated tank for this guy. So we'll go straight into that. And thankfully, we will go ahead and we'll eat the Splintered Storm Shards. So that's very, very good to have gone ahead and gotten out of the way. Really here, I'm expecting him to switch, which he does, so I take the opportunity to go ahead and set up Stealth Rock. Now, last time we played this game, Finny versus Swampert was one of the matchups that kind of ruined the game for me. So I was running a more physical variant of Swampert, hitting him with Earthquake, and it did not do 50% damage. Meaning, basically, he was able to kill me with a combination of Scald and Moonblast. Not ideal. I don't really want to stay in against this thing for too long, but this is why we have Endeavor, right? So my idea is, hey, I'll eat an attack here, I'll use Endeavor, I'll bring his HP down, and then maybe I'll switch out, or maybe I'll just stay in and kind of whittle him down a little bit more to assist my sweep later on. So we're going to go for that Endeavor, and then he shows us the Calm Mind, which I really had not even thought about on Finny. I haven't really seen him use it much. Obviously, we can't stand in this. So we're going to go in Silvally Bug, expecting him to kind of greed away. I'm going to go Tailwind. He's going to defog the Stealth Rocks. And then we're going to Parting Shut out into Licky. Now, he still can't kill us from here because he's only got the +1 special attack at this point. And we're just going to explode. And we're going to go faster than him, obviously. And there we go. We've got the Calm Mind out of the way. Now, switching in the Swampert against the Nidoqueen, he's probably going to switch out here. That's my expectation. My thought is he's probably going to go into the Zapdos. So why not go ahead and just hit Ice Beam? Ends up hitting the Gallade, gets a crit. That might matter, potentially. So I go ahead and opt to stay in with the Swampert. I really should have switched out here to the Silvally because that's my dedicated thing for Gallade. But he goes ahead, Sword Stance, Close Combat, knocks me out. I'm going to go ahead and zip in Thunderous T to clean him up. Now, I've now made 2 critical mistakes. Number 1, I'm not using Silvally Bug for its main purpose, which is to switch into and tank this Mega Gallade. He's literally spec'd to do just that. And he doesn't have any other purpose on the team right now, besides setting Tailwind, potentially. So there was really no reason for me to sacrifice the Swampert there. There really was not. The second thing is, this is the only thing I have that absolutely outspeeds the Gallade every single time. I have 2 options here. I can go for Hidden Power Ice, which is probably the safest play in case he decides to switch out and into the Nidoqueen, or I can go for Volt Switch. Volt Switch would probably be overall safer because it would prevent the Lycanroc from being able to come in and set up once I'm locked into the Hidden Power Ice. However, that potentially leaves me in a matchup where I'm not favored because he'll get to switch in his Mon after I switch in mine. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to go ahead and go for Hidden Power Ice because it hits every single thing left on his team super effective except for the Lycanroc. If he does switch in the Lycanroc, I can then switch out into Celesteela, I can eat a +2 Stone Edge, and I can kill it back with Heavy Slam. Then I can put the Thundurus back in, or the Diancie in, and I can sweep up the rest of his team from there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to click Hidden Power Ice. He's going to switch in the Lycanroc. I'm going to go into the Celesteela. He's going to Sword Stance, so now he's at that +2. He's going to Stone Edge, and it's a crit. At this point, I have nothing other than that Celesteela that could have survived a hit. We can go into Thundurus, we're going to eat an Accelerock, and we're going to die. So really, at this point, we've kind of lost the game, unless he misses a Stone Edge. So we'll go ahead, Silvally Bug. Nope, that's not going to work. I was going for Tailwind, then we'll go for Diancie, Mega Evolve. Stone Edge misses, which is great. So we are going to kill that thing with Earth Power. However, it's not really possible that we're going to be able to win at this point. I go ahead and go for the Calm Mind, hoping that maybe we can blow back the Nidoqueen. But he is Shookaberry, so he is going to eat that, and we are going to die there. And that is going to be the game. So unfortunately, that came down to that crit with the Stone Edge. I could have set it up better had I gone ahead and Volt switched out with the Thundurus T. Yes, I would have had a bad matchup afterwards, but the Lycanroc would not have had an opportunity to set up, and I still would have had a lot of different ways to deal with what was left on his team. So really, it's that play, hitting Hidden Power Ice against that Mega Gallade, that really lost me this particular battle. Thankfully, I'm still in the playoffs. Unfortunately, I'm going to be playing against Lucky again right after this at the opening of the playoffs, so I am going to have to be able to beat him in order to advance really any further than this. Now, I did design a couple of other teams. Because this battle didn't really matter too much for the playoff standings, I did design a couple of other teams. One of which I've really been wanting to try out this entire time, and I really should have. So we went ahead and played a second game after this, just kind of for fun. And that's what's up next. This is the meme team that I put together. I realized after my draft that I actually had 5 Pokemon that knew the move Explosion. And also, I have one Pokemon that knows a sort of explosion ability, Damp. So I went ahead, I went with the 5 Explosion Mons that I had. All of them are carrying Explosion with max attack. And then I've got the Swampert, which is just kind of there because I don't have a 6th Explosion Mon. And the idea here is I try to hit Explosion on all 5 of my Explosion Mons. So I will do some subpar plays to make sure that happens. Initially, this is really the team I wanted to run, and then I convinced myself to try to play this way more seriously. I wish I had done this for real, but hopefully you enjoy kind of how this works out. I did request him to bring the same team that he would have brought anyway, so he's going to be using the exact same thing you just saw. It's just my team is going to be Explosion. So I'm going to go ahead and lead with Licky again because that's the best play, and just go ahead and hit Explosion because it will kill anything on his team. Doesn't matter what he actually does. So boom, there we go. 1 down. He's going to go with the Nidoqueen. I'm going to go with the Weezing. I am going to go with Toxic Spikes here. That might help wear down his team a little bit. We'll go for that. Expect him to kind of switch out here. He doesn't. I go for a Sludge Bomb. Obviously, at this point, Weezing is on its last legs. We're going to go ahead and hit Explosion again. Got a crit. That's pretty nice. Didn't really matter too much. We can clean up with Deancey. He's going to switch out. I'm going to go ahead and Mega Evolve. I'm not going to hit Explosion here. I'm going to go ahead and Diamond Storm. Now, I could have Diamond Stormed again, and he would have died after the Toxic, and he wouldn't have been able to kill me with Scald, but that's no fun. Let's just explode again. Now we're 2-2. Well, 2-3, I guess, really. He switches to the Nidoqueen, gets rid of the Toxic Spikes. We're going to easily eat that Earth Power. U-turn out. He's going to be dead. We still have our Silvally normal. Go into the Celesteela against the Zapdos. Obviously, it's not going to work out. We're going to go Swampert. Force him out. He ends up trying to Volt Switch. That doesn't work. We're going to go ahead and go for the Stone Edge. Obviously, Toxic is going to prevent that, or the Mist is going to prevent the Toxic from happening. We go into Silvally. Doesn't matter if he roosts. He is going to roost again, but we're just going to explode. And he's gone. No reason not to send out Celesteela here. He has a pretty good matchup against everything else. The Mega Gallade is going to Swords Dance, and we are going to explode. And now it's just the Lycanroc versus the Swampert, and we kind of know how this is going to work out already. He's going to go for the Z move. Not quite going to do it. And then we're going to end him up with the Earthquake. Lucky did tell me afterwards that really should have been Specs Hydro Vortex, or whichever the 150 base power one is that replaces Hyper Beam for starters. That would have been a better play. But either way, I thought this was a really fun team, and I thought it turned out really fun in the battle. So I just wanted to show you guys this. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video where we'll be taking on Lucky again. We'll have to come up with some way to get past him in the playoffs. Thanks for watching.